Hello everybody, welcome to Nostalgia Goggles. I'm Chris, also known as Retro Gaming Nerd, and today we're gonna see if Sonic Origins is worth your time. With that being said, I feel like I need a special guest, and since he's a hedgehog himself, let's get Spiny Norman.
Hello?
Welcome!
Who is this?
It's Chris, I'm on your channel from time to time.
Oh, hey Chris, what's up?
So today we're going to be talking about Sonic Origins. You down to do that since you are the expert in Sonic after all?
You do realize that I get like half of the information in my videos wrong, right? I mean, I don't consider that a bad thing. I think it's the charm of my channel.
Yeah, anyways, let's find out if Sonic Origins is worth your time.
Sonic Origins has about as much story as the original 4 games had, which is a little bit. Sonic 1 doesn't offer a lot of extra story details, but the animation is nice, and it does add the reveal of the 7th Chaos Emerald at the end, which I guess is a reveal if this is your introduction to the games. It was a nice way to segue into the next game. Sonic CD actually shows the tarot cards Amy used. That's a detail I didn't even know about until Chris told me about it. So it's neat to see them actually include it in a cutscene. Also, they had common sense and didn't leave out the old cutscenes just because they're throwing in some new ones. I know that doesn't sound like something worth praising, but I could have seen the studio going either way with that, either replacing the opening and ending cutscene with the new ones, or not including the new ones since the old ones already exist. I like the extra cutscenes they throw in since it gave them a chance to include Amy, but I also wouldn't want it without the classic Sonic CD cutscenes, which are to this day some of my favorite pieces of animation made from the entire franchise. In Sonic 2's cutscenes, we get 100% confirmation that the other foxes bullied the shit out of Tails when he was a young lad. The movie sequel, X, and Tails Gets Trolled also confirm this, but it's nice to get a more direct approach here. The Sonic series has been trying to have a more consistent lore throughout the entire series as of late, a decision that I won't say is necessary, but I could see its perks. I do think it's cute that they throw in a reference to the cutscenes in Sonic Prime, which is supposed to follow the canon of the mainline series, but also so is IDW, which might make things a little confusing in regards to where the fuck is everyone else in Prime? But maybe I'm just overthinking it. But they also seem to be overthinking it a little bit, maybe. I'm sorry, Chris, let me get back on topic. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, same deal as Sonic CD with Amy. There's details of the story not directly revealed in the game, but more so through the manuals that get a little bit more specific in the animated cutscenes. The cutscenes for Sonic 3 were by far my favorite, as they got a lot more stylized and had a lot of fun with it, portraying Sonic and Tails as cartoonish villains as the innocent Robotnik simply wishes to help Knuckles. This story has been done to death in the Sonic series, so there is really nothing too new about this, but they excelled in its presentation. I know Sonic Origins kind of fucked up a few things for purists of the series, and that's not really a call out to them. It's okay to want everything to be properly in place with the big collection pack. We'll talk about that more in a bit. But for a fan who doesn't care about all of that too much as long as everything is at least close enough, I feel they might prefer Origins for the lovely animations alone. It's definitely one of the game's biggest selling points, at least I think so.
So long story short, the best way to describe this is that the gameplay for this game is practically just playing the Sega Genesis games. Now there are some differences, mind you. For instance, the drop dash is implemented, the spin dash is used in every level, and lives are gone, and I know that all those sound pretty big, but it doesn't matter. I feel like with those changes, they're good changes, and I feel like if those really do bother you, you could just go and play the originals, because there are versions of them out there. So I feel like all the changes that are added to this one aren't that big of a deal. So with that being said, the only other change that happened with this game in gameplay is the mission modes, which I absolutely love, because if you're somebody like me that has overly played the Sonic games to death on the Genesis, the mission modes allow you to play missions specific to each Sonic game, and I think that that's pretty dope. All in all, I think that the gameplay is pretty solid because it is just Sonic. Yes, with the minor changes that they have, it is a little bit different, but it is still, at its core, Sonic the Hedgehog. So with that being said, let's move on to the presentation. So, I feel like Spiny kind of did my job for this one, so I'm going to try to keep this as general as possible, due to the fact that he already talked about the cutscenes in this.
I'm so sorry.
Outside of that, I think outside of the cutscenes, one of the things I'd like to actually talk about a little bit is little islands that are on the menus to represent each Sonic game. Those, I think, are really cute and really nice, and a nice addition to the game itself, at least presentation-wise.
I agree. I really like those two. Wish they could have done a little classic Knuckles model, but that's my only complaint.
Yeah, honestly, I wish that they did a little bit more with them, but it's really nice to see those, especially somebody like me that's old and dusty and have not seen these in 3D, kind of, a little bit, kind of.
Generations has them, but not all of this. Not like just the character models, not all like the little level details and whatnot. I mean, they have the fucking Spinball Island in 3D. That's neat to see.
Hell yeah. Another nice thing is that these games are in HD. I know that that really doesn't matter since they're pixel games, but like, let's be honest, if you're playing this on a cartridge, it's not going to be the same, especially since they do have to stretch, you know, to match the screen, or you're playing on a very tiny screen. So this does a really good job having it in HD. Am I talking out my ass? A bit, but I think it's nice to have them looking clean without having issues. And the last thing I do want to talk about in presentation, which is not new to the Sonic collection genre of games. Can I call them a genre?
Yes. Although it's a very all over the place genre.
But something that's not new and could arguably be said is better is the collection of art that is here. What I mean by that is box art, concept art, yada yada. This concept first started in Sonic Jam, but it was better done in Sonic Gems Collection and Sonic Mega Collection.
Yeah, I have to agree a little bit, because I really enjoy some of the artwork they give in Origins, but also, like, God, as a kid, just going through, like, the freaking Archie comics that they gave you in Mega Collection. And a lot of these this artwork is, you know, from Gems Collection, which I remember. I mean, I know that, and that's, like, from something even older. But, I don't know, like, it was so much fun looking at it in Gems Collection, because it was, like, all kind of new stuff, where in Origins, it's probably going to be new for someone, which will be neat, but wasn't new for me. I would have liked this. I would have liked some stuff. I think there was a couple of new images, never before seen images in Origins, but a little bit more stuff like that would have been nice. Or maybe even just throw in the first issue of IDW. Why not?
Yeah, that would have made sense.
Just give your art gallery a little bit more flair. Throw in some more fun stuff. It wasn't a terrible art gallery or anything. But it's been better in the past.
All in all, I think that the presentation of this game is well done. I absolutely gotta hand it to them for HDing all of these old games, but to also add cutscenes and to also add a gallery, which I don't think there's a debate. It could be better, but I think all in all, the presentation is pretty good.
I agree.
With that being said, none of this matters if you can't get your hands on this game, which you easily can. So let's talk about accessibility. So on to accessibility. You good back there? Okay. Anyways, despite the fact that Sonic Origins is a digital game, kind of, because by the time this video comes out, they already announced Sonic Origins Plus, which really tells you how long this video's been in production. Sonic Origins and Sonic Origins Plus, which is a physical version of Sonic Origins and some games, so I guess Sonic Origins and some chains, is kind of the game that is coming out regardless, and it has its price point that isn't probably going to change anytime soon due to the fact that it's digital. But that doesn't mean that this is the only way that Sonic collections are available. There was one for the Sega Genesis, the Dreamcast, and I definitely don't have those on hand because they're more than Sonic. So at the end of the day, let's talk about the Sonic collections, such as Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn. The Japanese version will set you back about $50, but God is it rare. To be fair here, Sonic Jam is rare. What that game entails is Sonic 1, 2, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The American version of Sonic Jam is going to set you back about a cool $200, period. I have not seen one under $200, and that's just how it is. I think that since the Sega Saturn has so many workarounds, just get the Japanese version, because $50 is better than $200. The thing that's funny is normally I like to differentiate the disc versions, but you're going to pay about $200 to $100 for the disc of Sonic Jam, so it doesn't really matter. I feel like at this one, if you really must have the box, just buy the box at this point. The other game that comes to mind is Sonic Mega Collections, and Mega Collections Plus. I'm looping them both in together. This one, I feel like the highest I've seen it at is about $42, but it goes for about $12 without the box, and it also goes for about $30. This is the most inconsistent when it comes to pricing. because I've even seen some for 10, so I have no clue where to price it at, but if you're looking to replay this and you have a GameCube, Xbox, or PlayStation 2, this is the way to go. And I think that's pretty dope, because I absolutely love the Mega Collections. So I think with that being said, the Mega Collections is the way to go if you're looking for a game that isn't Origins, to replay the Sonic classics. And then there's also the Sega Genesis itself, but once again, I feel like at the end of the day, Sonic is an older game, and it kind of runs into that Mario issue of where there's multiple ways to play it. The ones that I named off are like the easiest, which is why I didn't put the Genesis in this list, because that would require you to own a Genesis or a clone model. So, with that being said, let's move on to the goods and the bads.
So what's good about this game? Well, it's made it more accessible than it already was, which, I mean, it was pretty accessible in the first place, but hey, here's another version. The animated cutscenes are a very nice addition to make it kind of feel like a celebration. The coins that let you replay the special stages are great, especially of how fucking shitty that Sonic 2 special stage is. The infinite lives and anniversary mode makes it more accessible to younger people, and people who are shit at video games like me. I certainly would have loved this when I was a kid. I always fucking game overed before beating any of these.
I actually have to agree. I absolutely love the accessibility. Yes, there's multiple ways to play this game, but this is the easiest way to get your hands on this game. And I absolutely like that, especially as a person that owns a Sega Genesis and multiple ways to play this. I don't want to have to dig out a classic console. Sometimes I absolutely just love being able to play it on modern ones, so that's nice.
Yeah. And again, just like going back to it being like made a little easier for people. I understand there's like game purists out there that don't want that to be the case, but I think for the most part people have been understanding in this case. Again, I think it is like helping a new generation get into the older games because there's less bullshit to deal with than there was back in the 90s, but also like people who are really obsessed with it being exactly the way it was in the past. I mean, there's so many ports of this game, you're definitely bound to find one that if you're like that into it, you definitely have access to one that you like, because it's just been, these games have been ported so many fucking times.
The animated cutscenes are also great because they give you a little bit more clarity for the story, and they're also just nice to have. I absolutely love that they introduced Amy's tarot cards, and also that Tails got made fun of. It seems to even stick into other media today.
Yeah, the Tails game made fun of was directly put into, like, quite literally the same bullies were put into Prime, which was nice to see. It kind of feels like there was, like, communication between the different projects this year.
The coins, on the other hand, I absolutely do enjoy them. I do see where they can be a downside, and they may even be in the bad section, but I think that they're really nice to have, because they're a great alternative to lives. After all, we are in the modern day of gaming. We 100% do not need, a life system all the time. Also, it makes some of the special stages tolerable, especially if you're somebody like me that loves Sonic 3. The Blue Ball segment can become overwhelming really quickly, and I absolutely love having an instant replay. And it isn't just a instant replay, you do have to be aware of how many coins you have.
Yeah, and another thing about that, too, is, like, for me, with some of these special stages, I feel like growing up, it was hard to get good at some of them, because you had to, like, go through the entire level again, instead of just, like, being able to, you know, try to just, like, get a second chance at that special stage. The only exception was Blue Spears, because there was, like, literally a game where you could just play that.
Oh, for sure. But
all the other special stages, like, yeah, you had to, like, fucking... you either had to wait for the next one or restart the level, you know? There's, like, such a long gap in between actually getting to try the special stage again. Sometimes it could be hard to kind of, like, get the hang of them. So I don't know, I love the option is what I'm saying.
Another thing that's great about this game is the mission mode. Now this is something that I think is exclusive to this game, and it's just awesome. For somebody like me that has played classic Sonic so many times, having a mission mode is just great because it tests your skills with the game itself.
Confession time, I have not tried mission mode yet, but I will do a little live stream of it eventually. Looks like a fun mode.
This game also has an art gallery, which is another use for the coins, and I think it's a pretty nice art gallery. I don't think it's the best out there, and I think that it has been done before, but I think it's really nice if you haven't played anything like Mega Collection.
And just one more thing, Drop Dash, fucking brilliant. Like, it was such a good addition in Mania, and to bring that over to these games, I just love that move. It's such a simple thing that they threw into Mania, but it like felt like it always belonged there. You know, it feels like the spin dash, like it just belongs in these games. So the fact that they like brought that over to these other four, like, yeah, great idea, great call.
To add on to what you said, they just didn't add the drop dash, they also added the spin dash to Sonic 1 and even, well, the other games. I absolutely love this because it allows Sonic to be a lot more mobile, and it also shows that this is a remake of the games. Yes, it's not the purest way to play it, but it's an absolute godsend at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think another thing to appreciate, actually, one that I didn't even have written down, I just think it's a good thing to point out, is that even with all the changes, you still do have the classic modes available in this game. Like, you can turn all of this new shit off, and I think that's good too. I think that's nice of them to offer both ways if you are just, again, a Sonic purist. I like the new stuff they added. I don't feel so strongly connected to the way it used to be, to where I'm not willing to accept the new stuff. But I do like that the option exists. Options are a good thing.
The last thing that I want to add is that it's also nice that the last mode that they did have is a boss rush. And I absolutely like that idea. Sonic's bosses aren't, like, the greatest thing ever, but it is nice to be able to have them as an availability.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's move on to the bads.
Some of the day one glitches are a bad look. They fixed a lot of these, but it gave the game some bad press on release. Tails AI in Sonic 2 is pretty bad even to this day. I think it's improved a little bit though. They gave the art of Knuckles Chaotix and Sonic Spinball, but didn't just put them in the game. Weirder entries like 3D Blast made Mega Collection a more special collection. Origins is kind of a normie collection. Not bad, but come on, have some fun with it. Amy being playable would have been nice, although this part of the script is a little bit obsolete now since a Plus is coming out, but, you know, they still charged for the original. They're still going to charge for Plus. Also, why are Mighty and Ray's still not in it? They were in Mania, just drop them into this one. Also, I have some more demands while I'm at it. A menu in Ken Pender's art style would have been preferred. Omo Chow wasn't there to help me out. Sonic is still alive by the end of the game. They could have given us Unleashed, Generations, Frontiers, Forces, and Boom in the collection, but no, Sega just had to be cheap.
Well, despite all those super reasonable demands, a thing that I want to bring up is that Sonic 3's music is not in this game. At least the original isn't. They use the PC version, but I don't know. It's not the same.
It feels like after all these years, I get it. There's problems with the music. There's like, maybe it has something to do with Michael Jackson's involvement, but it's also just like, it's 30 years not enough to figure this out.
I feel like this, as you literally brought up, I feel like that's not a good excuse, and it does actually detract from what makes Sonic good, in my honest opinion, because the music in the Sonic franchise, no matter what, is some of the best.
People who don't like Sonic games can normally compliment the music.
Minor nitpick is that Sonic and Knuckles is not separated, which really doesn't matter. I wrote that as a note, but like, who really cares? I mean, I guess it's to mention Sonic Jam, but I kind of like it as is. I kind of like that it isn't separate. I don't know. I feel like it's something I got over. So, yeah. That's really it for me on the bads. With that being said, let's move on to our final thoughts. So with all that being said, is Sonic Origins worth your time?
If you're a big fan or a newcomer to the series, yes, I think it offers enough. If you're kind of just like a casual fan and you have, you have Mega Collection, I wouldn't bother. Maybe just look up the cutscenes online. But if you're going into this as just someone who loves Sonic and you just want to get anything new to the series, I think the game offers you enough new stuff to warrant it. I also just think having all the games on your PC or Switch would be neat. And if you're a newcomer, it's perfect. Perfect introduction. It's a little bit, if you're like a younger kid coming in from the movies, yeah, it's great to be able to just turn this on and have an easier time with it with the more friendly anniversary mode.
Couldn't agree more, except for the fact that this episode's gonna be dated soon, because absolutely fuck me for wanting to do this. They decided to announce Sonic Origins Plus, which has more shit. So, yeah, I don't know where to go from there. I'm just gonna say that I definitely still think this is worth it, but I'd also argue that you might want to wait.
Oh yeah, definitely wait if you haven't got it yet. But Sega's on my fucking shit list for this. Like I made a fucking Triple Trouble playthrough and made a full fucking video on it, and then in the middle of making that video, it's just like, oh, it's gonna be available for fucking consoles now. Fuck you. I mean, it's not really like their fault for not. They should be. I mean, they should be monitoring my YouTube channel and like focus on making me happy specifically. I think I've earned the title of their most valuable customer. Yeah. But yeah, no, timing could have been better in a lot of ways.
Yeah, with that being said, what's your guys' favorite Sonic game? Spiny? I'm putting you on the spot.
Sonic and the Secret of the Rings. It wasn't even like a funny answer. That was just like a whatever answer. Let me do that
It sure fucking was.
I think that like Tails Sky Patrol is pretty fun, pretty cool. Why are you laughing? I don't.
That's such a weird choice. That's such a weird choice.
I don't really like Sonic, dude.
With that being said, Spiny, what are you up to? I don't know when this is coming out, but check out Spiny Norman's channel. They are, explain yourself.
I talk about Howard Hamlin and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I don't know what my most recent video will be at the time that this comes out. Probably Triple Trouble still. At least in terms of big, at least in terms of like big, highly edited videos. I cover web shows too. My most famous video is the Sonic for Hire video. So if you want to watch those, there's that and Pokemon Rusty. Another one coming out not soon because it's going to take me forever to make, but eventually. I'm sorry, I'm not even doing a good job plugging myself. I feel like I've just fucked up this recording.
No, it's all good. It is all good. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time on Nostalgia Goggles.
Peace.